When auditioning for a film this big in scale, there has to be a lot of secrecy. What was your audition process like? And what was told to you from Todd about this character?
You're not, no one's gonna believe this. It's insane. So I sent in a self-tape. It was two scenes. It was probably like 3 pages each scene. So it was like, a few minutes total. And I sent in one self-tape, and that was at like the beginning of summer or something. And waited a month. I mean, it was so lofty and so big. My agent had said, like, I think this might be the new Joker movie, but at that stage, everything is super under wraps and
Right.
no one really knows what's going on, who's what, it's a bunch of mock-up scenes and stuff. But I just had scenes that were about this guy who's in an asylum and he's talking about the things that he did or didn't do, or, he's like talking to the guards and stuff. It was super cool. Did one self-tape, sent in those two scenes, and then a month later they were like, oh, we're in talks, you're pinned, which kind of means like we're interested, but we're not
Right.
sure. So like we'll get back to you. It's pretty much like don't go away, but stay around. And then I was like, okay, cool, that's crazy. And then another month that happened, and then I think a third time that happened. And they weren't requesting a callback or anything. They weren't doing a different session or anything. And then they were just like, oh, Todd wants to have a meeting with you. And so I went from this one self-tape like 3 months ago to a one-on-one Zoom meeting with Todd. And we kind of just talked about movies. It was honestly kind of like this. We were just like kind of talking and,
Yeah.
having fun or whatever. And at the end of it, we probably only talked for like 10 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes. And then he was like, all right, well, I just wanted to make sure you weren't actually, insane. Uh, And he was like, okay, cool. Like, we'll talk about next steps. And then last thing he was like, oh, by the way, like, do you mind if I cut all of your hair off? And because at that time I had like hair like down to here, like a pretty solid locks, if I do say so myself. And I was like, yeah, of course, like do whatever you want
Shave it
to me.
all off, man.
Yeah, I was like, I could not care less. Um, so yeah, I did that one self tape. 3 months went by, I had a meeting with him, and then they were like, okay, we need to do a screen test where I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything. They just put me in my costume that I had a few fittings for. They like pinned my hair back in this weird way to make it look like I was shaved, but it was actually kind of like slicked back, long ponytail. And then they were like, you're it. I didn't know what my part was. I didn't know. He kept saying, by the way, like this part is really small in terms of screen time, but is really pivotal and important to the story and really big. So I was like, at that point, I was like, I don't care. Like you could put me as like, janitor number 12. Like I'd be like, sure, let's do it. And yeah, so I show up. Um, I still didn't know. First day, still didn't have a script, still didn't have no, first day we did this thing where it's kind of a quick moment in the beginning when Arthur's kind of walking through, and then I bite one of the guards.
Yeah.
Then I kind of kick and whatever as they like take me away as we're like tracking Arthur. And that was the first day. And before we started filming that, Todd was like, oh, come here, come here. And then I was like, okay, oh shit, here we go. And he like just took me down this hall. We're like in an asylum that they built. Right? So it's like, it looks crazy. And I'm just like talking to him, like Brendan Gleeson's right there, Joaquin Phoenix is right there. Like I'm about to like bite this guard. And we had like choreography that they ended up switching. And then he's like, oh, by the way, he's like, yeah, I wanted to like tell you what you're doing, for this whole thing. He's like, by the way, you kill Arthur at the end of it. The last day we film, you'll kill Arthur. And it's kind of revealed that you're the real Joker, that is like the real Joker of this universe. And I was just like, what? Like, no. And he was like, and he was so nonchalant about it too. You know what I mean? And he was just kind of like, he's like, all right, so don't tell anyone. Okay. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm not gonna tell anyone. He was like, no, I mean like no one. And I didn't. And that's how he told me on that first day.